Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. This time I have a tutorial for you on how to get started drawing in Procreate. This will be a very simple tutorial, perfect for beginners. So the very first thing I will do is, of course, open my app Procreate, and I'm going to create a new canvas. And to do that, I'm just going to tap on this plus sign in the top right corner, and where it says screen size, that's a very comfortable and quick size, so I'm going to click there. And here I have my new project. So now I have to select the brush I'm going to be working with today, and those you can find in this first icon that has the shape of a brush. So you tap there, and Procreate already comes with a bunch of sections with different types of brushes. So I encourage you to go around these sections and look at the brushes. You can test them on your canvas. I'm actually going to select a color different than white that I have selected right now so you can see. So tap on this little ball at the top right corner, and this is your color selection, and you have different methods to choose the color. You have this one that's called classic. If I wanted to select black, I can just drag this ball all the way down here, and as you can see, the ball turn black, and that's how I know that the color black is selected, and also the color is going to be reflected on this circle at the top right corner. You can also go to your disk, and I think this is my favorite method. With this big ball, you would select the main color that you're looking for. Let's say I want a blue, so I bring my ball to the blue tone, and then the smaller ball inside this circle will tell you how bright or how dark the color will be. If you want black, then you just drag this all the way down, and if you want some more color, you just bring this ball to where there's a little more light. Okay, so I'm just gonna do black for now, just to show you that you can just select any pencil from your library, any brush, and then start painting with it. Okay, so as you can see, there's a big variety of brushes available, and most of them will be pressure sensitive, which means that if you draw on the screen lightly, you'll barely make a stroke, but if you go harder with your pencil on the screen, then the line will be thicker and the ink will be also heavier. Now I want to undo all these things I did, and I have this arrow on the bottom here to do so I can just tap on it, but I can also quickly use two of my fingers on the screen at the same time. I tap, and then whatever I did becomes undone, and if I want to move a step forward, I can tap, but with three fingers this time, to redo anything I did. I'm gonna go back, and I want to tell you too that here you have two sliders. The top slider will tell you how big or small the brush that you have selected is when you're drawing. So, you know, there's a size here, and I can move the slider down and make the brush smaller. And the second slider will be how transparent your stroke is going to be. So I'm gonna make the brush a little bit bigger again so you can see well, and I'm gonna lower the opacity somewhere here just to show you. And as you can see, the stroke looks more like a gray, and in fact that is because it's transparent. So if I do several strokes on top of each other, then I'm going to create this effect that allows me to know that it's several layers of strokes. Okay, so that was our quick intro to brushes in Procreate. And for today's project, we will actually select a very simple one that is located in your calligraphy section, and that will be the monoline brush. And the reason why I choose this brush is because you have full control of the stroke, because the stroke doesn't change no matter how hard or how light you press your pencil on the screen. So that will ensure that our drawing looks uniform. So I'm just gonna go choose a smaller size, and I will talk about layers as we go. Sorry, the day was getting a little too dark on me. I hope you can see better now. So your layers menu is these two squares on top of each other on the top right corner. Okay, if I tap there, I will open all of the layers that I have existing in my project at the moment. And as you can see, I only have my background color, which is white, and I also have another layer labeled layer 1. Now the way that layers work is, imagine you have transparent sheets of paper on top of each other, including the background. So the background is a sheet, It's white right now, but I could always deactivate it by clicking on this little check mark on the right side, and that will turn it off, meaning that it'll turn into another transparent sheet. So imagine that you have a transparent sheet for the background, another one on top for my layer one, and if I want to add more layers, I tap on this plus sign and I keep adding onto those transparent layers. I hope that makes some sense. That is the basic way that layers work in Procreate and in any other app that works with layers. And you'll see as we start drawing how this is helpful, but for now we are just going to start on layer number one. So I'm going to delete this second layer I just created to show you. So I'm gonna swipe right on it so that I can see this button that says delete, and I tap there, and now I have only layer one. If you try to delete this first layer, you will not be able to, because you have to have at least one layer available, and you do have a button that says clear instead. So for example, if I was practicing my drawings or just playing around with my brushes and I want to get rid of that, I can just go here to my layers, drag this to the left, and then click on clear, and that's gonna erase everything I have on this first layer. Alright, so let's get to drawing. So once you have your brush monoline selected and a size that is comfortable to draw with, and you can give it a try. The drawing we're gonna do is very simple, so you can just, go back and redo it if you need to. Whoops. But, just do a few strokes and see what size you think is gonna be comfortable to draw with. Here I'm using at 24%, so you can try that if you want. So my first drawing will be the planet Earth, or a planet that looks a little bit like planet Earth but from a different galaxy, because it will not be accurate. It doesn't look like the one we live in. But to do that, I will first just draw a circle, right, like a planet. And as you can see, my circle, it's not perfect. I kind of didn't close in the exact same spot where I started here, so I have this extra line. I can try again and make it perfect myself, but Procreate has an awesome feature that, let me go back by tapping with 2 fingers. If you create the shape of a circle, but leave your pencil stuck to the screen, then the circle will actually turn into a perfect one. So now I can remove my pencil. And from here you can see this button that says edit shape appears, and if I tap there, I will get these blue dots that allow me to further perfect my shape. You even have a button here on the right that says circle, so if I tap there, then the shape turns into an actual perfect circle. I will keep the ellipse because I don't mind if this looks a little hand-drawn, if it's not entirely a perfect circle, up to you. And then you can just drag these blue dots and adjust the position and shape of your circle. When you're done, you can just tap anywhere else on the screen. And now we are going to create a second layer, so go to your layers menu, tap on this plus sign, and with the second layer selected and the same brush I was using, I'm gonna go and draw in some continents for this world. So I'm just going to go and create shapes that could resemble continents. Really, this does not have to be perfect at all. You can just play around. Another tool I have not shown you, and it's very important, is the eraser. So that's gonna be your third icon on the top right here. And if you tap there again, you'll have the exact same menu that you do for the brushes. So these are my brushes. And you have the exact same ones for the eraser. So really it's like a brush that you're selecting, but that will delete stuff instead of, adding it in. So I like to use the hard brush, which is located in the airbrushing category. And that is because it has the edges very defined and it's easy to erase stuff. You can see what you're doing, instead of the ones that are more like soft or blended that will, not be as exact. So that's just my preference. You can again play around and pick the eraser that works for you. We're gonna do hard brush for now, and I'm gonna go back to undo this that I did. But I do want to erase these extra bits in my lines here, something like that. Okay, I'm making it worse. Another cool trick you have in Procreate is with your Apple Pencil 2, you can double tap on it and switch tools. So in this case, I went from having my eraser selected to having my brush selected. So that's very comfortable. I have my brush selected, double tap, and now I have my eraser selected. All right, so I want my brush, and I just want to redo this line a little bit. It's better if you don't fail the first time. It's kind of hard to fix, but you do have your tools that allow you to fix your drawing. So I'm gonna keep going and drawing a little more land here. Something super simple, just like this. Okay, now as you can see, I obviously went beyond my circle here and I need to fix this. And this is why the layers are so helpful, because if you remember, I have my first layer, which is the circle, and to show you, I will deactivate it by clicking on this check mark. Okay, so the circle is gone. And I have this new layer that I created that is not connected to the circle. So with that second layer selected, I will go to my eraser and then I'm just gonna go and erase the little extras here. And since this is in a separate layer, then my circle is perfectly fine. I'm not affecting it. Awesome, so this is planet number 1. And now we are going to move on to planet number 2. For that, I will create yet another layer, go to my layers menu, plus sign, and I have created a third layer. Select my brush, create a big circle for my second planet, leave my pencil attached to the screen, and I can even grow my circle a little bit, but make sure you don't exit the screen or the canvas, because if I do that, if I want to bring my planet up, and to do that you can use this little arrow here to select that layer, and you can bring it up, but as you can see, the shape is cut off because it was outside of the canvas. Anything that leaves the canvas doesn't come back. So I'm gonna show you again. Click on this arrow to select the entire layer, move this to the side, and click on it again to move it back, but now that big chunk is gone because it was outside of the canvas. So I'm gonna start over, delete this by double tapping on the screen, and try again. I'm gonna make a circle, adjust it a little bit, and I want to move it a little bit more to the corner, so tap on my arrow here, zoom out by pinching out because I can't see the whole canvas, and then just move it a little bit, something like that. Okay, so this is gonna be a planet that has several lines with different colors. So again, I'm going to create another layer. And I'm gonna start drawing in my divisions for the colors, okay? So to do that, I will create a curved line here without removing my pencil from the screen. As you can see, this curve also became, perfect. This is the feature that I use to create my circles as well. It's not only about circles, it's about curves, it's about straight lines, it's about squares, or any other shape that you can think of. Procreate will help you make it perfect. Okay, so in this case, let me go back. I actually didn't like my line. So I'm gonna make it a little longer this time, like this. Edit shape, and you can edit your curve until it looks exactly the way you want it to. So I'm gonna create a few more of these. Some closer together, some further apart, one more at the bottom here, and one last one at the top. Now again, I do have to go around and erase these extra bits that I had, so I'm gonna select my eraser and then just go around and delete these. And now we get to the fun part. We need to add some colors to our drawings. So once you're happy with how your planet outlines are looking, then I will collapse all the layers for each planet so that I have one planet on each layer. Right now I have 2 layers for each planet, so I have my outside circle and then I have the inside design, but I want to collapse these so that it's only one layer, okay? So to do that, you will go to the top layer of the 2, in this case layer 1 and layer 2 make this planet. So I go and select layer 2, I tap on the image and then click on where it says merge down, and now if I click on the check mark, as you can see, this whole image has become one layer only. Now I have my layer 4 and layer 3 for the other planet, and I can also click merge down again, or I can drag the top and bottom layers together and that will also merge them. Now when you have 2 layers, this might be as special, but when you have a ton of layers, then it's very easy to just collapse them by dragging them like that. So first we're gonna draw in the Earth-like planet. So you tap on that layer. I will actually create a separate new layer, so tap on this plus sign, and I'm gonna drag it so that it's below the planet layer. And actually you can label your layers to make your life easier. So tap on where it says layer 1 for this planet and rename, just write Earth. Okay, so now I know that this is the Earth layer, and I can also relabel this one. It'll be Jupiter. Okay, so now I click on the image of the layer where it says Earth, and I will click on where it says reference, And this is a very interesting feature, very useful, because now I can go select my new layer that is called right now layer 3, and I'm gonna start dragging my colors onto my planet. But as you can see, I'm not on the earth layer, so the colors will color this image, but they will not affect my original planet layer. So the first thing, I'm going to select a blue color for the water. You can play around with the colors here, select whatever you want. Okay, and then just drag this color to the water section. And as you can see, because I had my earth drawing as a reference, then Procreate knows exactly where to drop the color, and this is so helpful and makes things a lot easier than if you had to like manually come and color in every portion of the drawing. Now I'm gonna do the continents, and for that I'm gonna choose some brown color. I have a color palette here, but you can just play around with the colors and choose whatever works. In fact, I think I want something green instead. Okay, go back to my layers, make yet another layer on top of the water that is still under the earth layer, and this time we are going to bring the color to the continents to do the same thing. So I just drag from this color to the white gaps, okay, and if I went outside of those gaps, then I would draw in the rest of the painting, which is all of the background. But because I'm staying within the black lines, then that is not happening. These black lines tell me where the color needs to go. So before we move on to the next planet, I want to show you some awesome tricks that Procreate has. What happens is that we have the water in a layer and the continents on a separate layer. And the reason why this is helpful is because I can now add some effects to either the continents or the water. I'm gonna start with the water layer, so just pick where you see the water here. Right now it's layer 3. And, sorry, I forgot, you are going to activate alpha lock. To do that, you can just drag the layer to the right with 2 fingers. And I'm not sure you can tell on the camera, but the background has turned into like a dark gray and lighter gray checkered background. And that means that the layer is transparent. So only the color is selected and nothing else on the layer. That'll make sense in a second. Now I'm gonna go choose a different brush. So open my brush library. I'm gonna go to spray paints and select anything you want from here. You can just play around and check out the different options. I'm gonna go with medium nozzle for now. And I'm gonna pick a color that is blue but different than this blue. Okay, so to select this exact same blue color, you can tap on the screen on the color, and as you can see, this little ring appears and it's telling me that I had my green selected, but now I have a blue color selected. So if you move the disc without separating your finger from the screen, you'll see that you're able to select other colors, in this case the black or green or blue, you know, from this drawing. Those are the only colors I have. So I want to select the blue so that when I go here, the blue is already selected and I can easily change to a lighter shade, for example. And now, because I have that alpha lock feature selected on the layer, I will only draw on the water and I can start making this cool effect. Change the color of the water a little bit. You could do something around the continents, like it's the shore and the water is a little clearer there or something like that. It's just a nice way to make your drawing a little more interesting and more fun. And you can play around with different shades of blue. I can do like a darker one here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same for my continents layer. So in this case, layer 4, I'm gonna alpha lock it. And this time I'm gonna choose something like a brown or a darker green. And I'm gonna go around and do the same thing. You can go darker around the edges. And you can in fact add some yellow, for example, just to make it a little more interesting. This is like a jungle with different colors. I'm using my pencil really lightly on the screen. If I go stronger, then you can see I add more color in. So my Earth planet is done. And now we're going to move on to Jupiter. So remember, I need another layer for the color of Jupiter. So tap on your plus sign, drag that under Jupiter. Click on Jupiter to activate the reference for this Jupiter layer. Go back to select the new layer. And from here, you will be able to drag the colors that you want. Okay, for this one, I want something like purple, pink. So I just go around selecting those colors and adding them to my drawing. I'm gonna add some orange too. Something like that. It's a little too dark. There we go. and I'm fine with these colors for now. Now another very useful feature of the Alpha Lock is to create shadows. So to do that, I'm going to remove the reference from the Jupyter layer. So just tap there and tap on reference. Now it's off. Go to your color layer and make sure that Alpha Lock is selected. Choose a dark gray color because this is going to be for like a shadow, and I actually want a different brush, something maybe from painting. Let's try gouache. That one can work. So I'm gonna bring the opacity of the brush down to maybe a 42%, and then just try how this would look as a shadow. And you see how easy that was? I can just draw in a curve here without removing my pencil, because this type of brushes, if you pass your pencil again, as I showed you in the beginning, you will start making different layers on top of each other, which is okay if you want this effect, but I don't really, so I just make sure not to remove my pencil from that first stroke. I like the way this looks. I'm gonna do the same for the earth. If you remember, the earth, you still have two layers, one for the continents and one for the water, so we need to collapse those. All you do is drag them together, select that layer, and then you can create your shadow. If you need the shadow to be darker, you can just go around one more time. Awesome, so now it's the effect as if you had the sun shining its light from the left side. Okay, so we're almost done. We just have to change the background because floating planets in a white background doesn't make a lot of sense. So go to your layers menu and you have your background layer here, if you recall, and if you tap on the color part, you can actually drag this ball and select any color that you want and the background will change. So I'm gonna go for like a dark gray or black pretty much background, like that. And one last touch that we're gonna add is go and create another layer on top of the background. So just create another layer and drag it so it's right above the background. And for this, I'm gonna use this special brush that, don't worry, I have another video showing you how to use it and it's incredibly easy. So I'm gonna link it below, make sure to check it out. It's really quick and it's gonna be really fun. I have it right here, it's this stars brush. So select that as a brush and then I'm gonna select like a light, white color so that the stars will pop in the dark background. And I'm just going to draw my stars. As you can see, as this layer is behind the planets, it doesn't matter if my pencil goes over the planets because the stars will always be behind. So add as many or as few as you want. If there's one you don't like, you can use your eraser and just get rid of that particular one and try again. I think that this looks really cute. And this is our finished painting. Now to share your art with the world, you can click on this first icon here, and then where it says share, you click on JPEG or PNG, whichever format works for you. I'm gonna do JPEG, and then you just click on save image. Now if you go to your photos library, you'll have your recently created piece of art. Okay guys, so I hope this video was not too long. I just wanted to go over the basic features of Procreate and help you create your very first drawing. As always, if you have any questions, drop me a comment below or leave it at the group. I'm gonna get back to you as quick as I can. We would love to see your art, so feel free to share it on Instagram and tag PrintStick Shop, or you can also share it on the Facebook group. I'm gonna leave the link to that below so you can join. And if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up to let me know, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and click on the bell so you know when there's a new video out. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!